Hey guys, I have a different type of video for you guys today. I wanted to do a little insight about my experiences when it comes to baby gear, especially for new time parents, and what I have found after having 6 children now and having to go through buying this stuff over again sometimes. There are certain things that I found that I didn't really need. So by the time I got to Clara, there are just things I didn't even bother buying. The funny thing with Clara is that when we had Anastasia, which is her older sister, we were done with having children. So we were just about to get fixed so that wouldn't happen again, and I kind of accidentally got pregnant, so we had to actually buy a whole bunch of stuff over. When you are a first-time parent, there are a lot of things you get suckered into, and I admit I was the same way. That the baby industry is huge, right? And they're pushing all these types of products at you, and a lot of parents feel like they need everything. And I just wanted to talk to you today about things that I found I didn't need, and maybe that's something that you can consider, but I'm not trying to suggest that you necessarily axe all these things off your list, because some of these things work for some people and not for others. But I just thought I'd let you know, because being a mum of 5 kids and having been doing this since I was 24, so that's, gosh, so now what, 13, 14 years, I have kind of weeded out the things that I found weren't really necessary when you do have a baby. Okay, so we're gonna start with baby gear. So things that you buy to keep baby happy, you know, not necessarily the necessities, just kind of the extras. So a lot of parents feel like they need to get a baby swing or a baby bouncer. Now with my firstborn, we had the most basic bouncer ever. You just put him in there and you kind of pushed it with your foot and it would bounce. There was none of this fancy back and forth and music and vibration or anything like that. It was just plain old bouncer, and it worked for him. He liked it, right? But that was I think it was a hand-me-down from somebody who just gave it to us as a gift. And then I think as we went on, I tried a swing for my third board, I think, for my now 7-year-old son, and he hated it. I tried 2 different swings and he just hated it. So when it came down to my daughters, I didn't even bother. I think I bought a bouncer for Anna, and we used it for like 2 weeks, and then I ended up donating it to the preschool. So it was kind of a waste of money. I mean, I didn't feel bad donating it. So that's one thing that you may or may not need. Maybe first-time babies, yes, but I found as you get down the line and the children have siblings, the siblings are just as entertaining as the swing or the bouncer. Another similar thing to that is the playmats that they tend to advertise and push on parents, that you need these fancy dancy playmats with these little bars that come over, little dangly toys. I think I had that for 2 of my kids, and as I said, by the time I got to Clara, I just felt like it wasn't a need. I could put her down on the floor, on her belly, just on like a quilt, or something I didn't mind her spitting on. Make sure you put on something that you don't mind cleaning. And she was fine. She just looked around and you kind of gave her a few toys. So that might be something that you may not need. It wasn't something we needed down the road. It was really hard to store, because especially those big arches, I was pushing them behind couches and chairs, and it just wasn't something that we needed in the end. Another thing that I know Jess Marks of Motherhood mentioned on her video about registry items that you don't necessarily want is those Boppy pillows. Those things that go around you when you're breastfeeding or when you're feeding a bottle feeding, and it's supposed to kind of help you balance the baby, you know, around your waist. Oh, I hated them. I hated them. I couldn't get them to work. It was uncomfortable because I kind of wanted to put my arm up, and then you had this pillow thing around you. And I don't know, maybe there's people out there who it works for, but for me, I couldn't get it to work. So that was something I think I bought once and never bought again, because honestly, you can use a pillow from your bed. Honestly, it does the exact same thing, and it's saving you a heap of money. So that's another thing that I just didn't feel like we needed down the road. After the first baby, that was axed completely. Another thing that a lot of parents get obsessed with is sanitizing everything. I personally don't feel like you should be sanitizing everything because your children do need some kind of immunity. And when they're little, that's when they build it up. Now, you know, people might argue with me and they say, well, you should sanitize your bottles and your toys. And okay, so we had a sanitizing thing for the first baby because like all first-time parents, we got kind of sucked into it and like, oh, we got to sanitize the bottles. And because I had to bottle feed Michael, I couldn't breastfeed him. There was a lot of cleaning and sanitizing bottles and things like that. Now, especially third baby in or second baby in, I was like, that's it. I couldn't be bothered. I'm too busy. I'm not going to sanitize everything. So we just wash everything with normal soap, put it in the dishwasher. Just make sure you wash off all the suds and you dry, and it's completely washed off from all that stuff. And it worked just fine. If your child has a particular sensitivity, then of course sanitize. But for me, I found the sanitizing things were a little bit of a waste of money and time for me because it just didn't make any difference. I could do the same thing, hand washing the bottles and the toys and everything, like even boiling things, like you know how they're boiling it to sanitize it? Don't really need to boil it. As I said, if you have a baby that has a sensitivity or you feel like you need to, that's fine. But for me, I stopped sanitizing things from probably Michael onwards. After Michael, I was like, nah, I'm not doing this anymore. Especially when you have so many kids, you don't have time to sanitize everything. Okay, so going on to strollers and car seats and things like that. So you guys probably know I'm a huge bag fiend, and I only really got into that, last year. So that was 5 kids later that I finally kind of got into the diaper bag. I was using some really cheap diaper bags before then, and I guess they were working because, hey, I got to child number 5 and never thought I needed one. And the other item that I was very obsessed with for a while was strollers. I went through so many strollers, okay? So many. And I could do a whole other video about all the different strollers I've had and all the different recommendations that I could give you as far as brands and styles that you may need or may prefer. So if you would like a video like that, please pop a comment down below and I will get onto that because I pretty much know about every single stroller out there. Now, the one thing that I didn't bother with strollers was a bassinet for my stroller, okay? And a lot of strollers now come with it, and that's great. You can use it if it comes with it, fine, use it. Like all the Bugaboo strollers mainly come with bassinets, apart from the Bugaboo B, but I think you can get that with it in a package now. But if you are thinking of buying a bassinet separately, really don't bother, because they're only in it for maybe 4 months, 4 to 6, depending on how big your child is. Like I had almost 9-pound babies towards the end, and they would have lasted maybe 2 weeks and grown out of a bassinet. So I did not bother with bassinet. If you have a stroller that says 3 months and up, you can easily lay it all the way back and as far as it will go, because a lot of them lay back pretty far, even for the 3 month and up ones. And I used to just put a rolled up muslin wrap, or you can get the little car seat and stroller kind of inserts, and I would just put it around the baby, and as long as the baby's head is secure and not moving like this all the time or flopping forward, you're fine. You don't need to use a bassinet. If you prefer the look of the bassinet, that's great, and I think it looks beautiful, I really do. But if you want to save some money and you're thinking of buying a separate bassinet, honestly, you don't really need to. You can just use the stroller that you have. I had a Baby Zen yo-yo, and for Clara, that was from Anna, and I actually got the kit to switch it around to make it into a kind of lay flat bassinet style. And honestly, she was in there for 2 weeks. That's it. And then I just got rid of it, and I just turned it back around and I used the yo-yo the way it was and just secured her head and everything in there, and she was quite safe. Just as long as they're safe and secure, that's the main thing. Another thing to do with baby gear in that respect is infant car seats. Now, a lot of people love the infant car seats because you can take them out of the car directly into your stroller, and that's a really good benefit for it. Here in Australia, we have like 4 different car seats you basically have to go through. You've got the infant car seat, then you've got you can get the convertible car seat from 0 to I think 1 year old, and then you have to get another car seat. So there's just all these levels of car seats that you have to get. we ended up with Anna, from Anna onwards, we ended up just getting a convertible car seat, and we used the Diano, and I can put the link below for those. Those are amazing, solidly made, so safe car seats that you can get, and they're thin, so you can put them in smaller cars. We had to fit 3 across the back of our car because we had 3 in a car seat at one point. We had my 2 boys and Anastasia. And those seats are actually, you can get them convertible, and they're very long, but they do work. So from her onwards, I didn't bother with the infant car seat because it was heavy and it was cumbersome, and then it was a waste of money because over here they're so expensive, and then you've got to go buy another car seat like 6 months down the road. So that is something that I found I didn't need to buy after a while, because yes, you kind of wake them up a little bit to get them out of the car, but it wasn't a big deal for me because I could just, I got so used to it and so skilled at getting them out of the car seat, putting them into the stroller, and if they woke up in the stroller, they woke up in the stroller. I think by the time you get to baby number 5, you're like, well, you know what? I'm just gonna deal with it. The last item that I want to talk to you guys about is to do with baby monitors. Okay, so when I first had Michael, the baby monitor situation was very, very basic. It was basically a 2-way kind of radio thing where you just put the one in the baby's room, and then you have another one that's on a particular frequency with you, and you can hear if they cry or not. It was just sound. Now you've got video and vibration and all sorts of things, even apps on your phone that parents feel like they need because they need to constantly be watching their child. I personally didn't find a need for that. Actually, I don't think we ever got the fancy baby monitor. We just kept the same old 2-way, 2-frequency baby monitor. I feel that that industry really does take advantage of parents' worry about making sure their child is safe and okay. And of course, if you feel like you need that, go ahead and do it. But they are very expensive, and they're not necessarily something that you may need. We did the sound one, and the sound one did enough that I could hear the child breathing or even making little noises, and it kind of almost gives you a little bit of freedom too, because when the child is sleeping and you have that half an hour, sometimes 20 minutes when they're newborns to yourself to just read a book, sit down, watch TV, do whatever, you want that disconnection. Well, I wanted that disconnection because I wanted some me time, and it's very, very important that you get some me time because otherwise it just gets so overwhelming. So some of those monitors are just, you're basically permanently connected to your baby, and if you like that, that's great. There's nothing wrong with that. But for me, I wanted some distance. So that is all that I want to talk about today. If you guys have any questions or comments, please pop them below. I will do another video on items that I enjoyed using raising my kids as babies, because right now Clara is 2. She's very much grown up now. She's basically potty training herself. She's at the point where she'll ask to go to the toilet, but it'll be after she's just gone. So we're getting there. So I'm really getting out of the baby stage. Makes me a little sad because I know now that my husband has made sure that that is not happening ever again. It kind of makes me a little sad. In a way, it's another adventure waiting to happen with my kids being older. I hope you guys enjoyed that video. Thanks for watching, and I will talk to you next time. Bye.